Hey guys, how you doing? It's Henry at Mowers and Blowers. Welcome to part 3 of my Troy Bilt Super Bronco 1842 lawn tractor. It's a repower project. I got this tractor through a trade with Nick from Medford. Had no engine on it, so the 1842 doesn't mean anything. It's really just a 42. Anyway, so this engine is the smokey engine. Smokey engine I did several episodes on it smoking a lot, and I changed the piston and rings, and it's still kind of wobbly, as was the old piston and rings, which I questioned whether or not it was the right piston and rings for this engine. This is a 331877 Briggs & Stratton single cylinder Intek 21 horsepower. We did start this up yesterday, one time. The first try, it started up. There's no muffler on it, and it was really loud. Right after that first start, multiple attempts to start this again failed. I even changed the carburetor. I took a brand new Nicky carb copy and swapped it with an original Walbro. Still doesn't start. I put this thing here because in the beginning, when I put this second carburetor on, it was leaking gas. Like the needle wasn't seating, right? But then after the fuel flowed, I guess the fuel lubricates the needle a little bit, and then it finally does seat. I put this here overnight just so that it wouldn't completely leak out, you know? I made this gravity-fed gas tank just to make sure that I was getting gas into the carburetor. My suspected stock gas tank, which is made for a fuel pump type engine, the output of the fuel is below the carburetor. So therefore I never thought that if it's below the carburetor, how's the fuel going to go upwards into the carburetor, right? And sure enough, you know, we tried it and it wouldn't work, you know. I think there might be some kind of blockage in the hose too, you know what I mean? But I mean, I really don't think it'll work right, you know, but I'll work that out later. But number one, we got to get this engine running, right? So I couldn't figure out why, because as you know, when I redid the piston and rings, you know, you put everything together again. The last thing I did was adjust the valves. So I really don't think it's the valves. However, it's suspicious because the first time I tried to start this, it started, right? It was following that start that it no longer started after that. So my intuition is telling me that it's probably a sheared keyway, and that's what a bunch of subscribers commented last night on last night's video, that it could be the sheared keyway. So we're gonna take this flywheel off and check the keyway. Now, the bolt that goes onto the keyway, goes onto the flywheel has to be super tight. Sometimes there should be a washer there to keep it tight, you know? I don't think there's a washer on there. So let's try to start it again and see if it works. Not even a bit. So we know it's getting plenty of spark because you just saw it popped, right? It means it's getting spark. But the timing is off, okay? The spark is not going where the valves are coinciding with the spraying of the fuel to ignite in the proper sequence. So it's the timing. Usually the timing is off if the keyway is sheared. So I'm hoping that's the problem, because that's not really a big deal, you know what I mean? I guess I could just do it now without cutting. I'm gonna just do it. I'm gonna do it. So I've got my Harbor Freight Tools 1/2-inch impact electric plug-in. Takes a 15/16 socket. I bought the socket just for flywheels. So here we go. You know, that was That's pretty loose, I think. There's the flywheel bolt for the crankshaft. It's in good shape. And there's no washer. There's the cup. There's the blower fan. Holy cow. Holy cow. I'm not cutting it. I'm just letting you see exactly what I see. Y'all see that? It is sheared. Supposed to be there, but the keyway's there. It is off by 45 degrees. Can you believe that? That's crazy, right?
That doesn't work!
So if you want to remove a flywheel, it does have holes for pullers, but in my experience with pullers, they don't really work very well. At least the cheap pullers, and that's the kind that I have. So it's not going to come off, right? So what I usually do is, I do it the Taro way. Taro's been doing this for years, and I think it works pretty well. You just take a crowbar, you stick it under the area where you think is a good place that won't interfere with the starter solenoid, the stator, and just so you can get a good base for pulling it upwards. I forgot a key element in doing this, so that you can't just bang that. You gotta put this bolt back on. Give it like 3 or 4 threads, you know. And you just find an area where you're not going to break anything. Usually around the starter area where there's like a heavy duty bracket there that holds the starter well. Just so you have an upwards pull. So I'm pushing upwards, right? Boom. I tried it with regular hammers. It doesn't have the same impact as a sledgehammer. I mean, this is, you can just let gravity pull that down and it'll come off. One little bash. Oh, got to take the bolt back out. I've never had a problem. Neither has Taro. He's been doing it for 20, 30 years. There it is. There is the flywheel. That's my French accent, by the way, if you guys can't tell. And I never said I was an expert on accents, alright? I just like doing them. It makes the video so much more interesting. And you know what? There's the sheared part of the key. And the other one fell out, and it's right here. I'm going to show you. I'm not going to show you. I'm going to show you. Can you guys see that? So here. Just sheared in a third. I won't say a half, because it's not exactly a half. Because this part is about a third bigger than that one. Well, actually, it does look kind of like a half. That's sheared pretty good. I wonder what would cause that. Well, I think maybe because I didn't have a washer on there, the torque of it, you know, combustion, boom, turning. There's a lot of reasons. You know what? I'm gonna get another key and put it in there. So while I have a good supply of brand new keys, I bought like 20 of them for like $5 or something a long time ago, and I've used them here and there. It was one of these keys that was in there, but these are copied keys. This is an original Briggs and Stratton. They're, I mean, exactly the same, but you can tell the Briggs and Stratton has a unique shape to the corners, 2 corners there. It's not exactly rounded on the ends here, kind of rectangle. So I took this off of another thing. I'm going to use the original Briggs first and see what happens. So I'm going to get the flywheel I'm going to replace it back on top, lining up the slit there and the groove there. Slits and grooves. You're going to have a pull of a magnet. So it's, watch your fingers. Because right now I can even feel some resistance. So I've lined it up just like that. I'm going to get you closer. So there's a slight taper to the crankshaft, but as you can see, when you put the flywheel on, right, it doesn't go up all the way to the tip here. There's still about ½ an inch of clearance between the top of the crankshaft and the top of the flywheel. But I have lined up the square hole perfectly. And I'm just going to slip this in there, in between. Feel a little bit of resistance unless it goes in this way. Yes. It's much better. Just going to give it a little bit of a push. There we go. It's in there. So before I put this on, see, I'm just going to show you the cup here. See, that's the thing. I feel like the cup is acting like a washer. And in many ways it does. That goes on like that. See what I'm saying? But just for this time, I'm going to put a washer on this. So if you look at this bolt, right? It's threads, and then it goes to a tapered out. So what if I tightened it up to the part where it's tapered, and it doesn't go anymore, and then you have that millimeter left there. If you take a washer and you put it in between there, that takes up the room, or at least most of it. I mean, I almost feel like I want to put another one in there, but I mean that honestly is very unconventional. I've never done that, you know. But it didn't have a washer on there. Let's see if the washer may make a difference in taking up some of the space of that tapered bolt, right? That possibly that could be the reason. Now I'm going to put this on tight this time, you know, for sure. But I got a washer on there. Still spinning. Now that's just about the tightest I've ever put it on, you know? So you know what? I guess we can try it now. I'm going to put some more gas in here just to make sure, because there is some gas, but you know, with these gas tanks, if it's not level, and it'll miss the mesh part of the opening, and no gas will go in. Just to be sure it's going to get gas, I'm just topping it off a little bit. It's not nowhere near full, but it's at least an inch, you know, so that I'm sure that it's getting fuel. No, I don't really see fuel in there. It's weird. Battery's dead though again. The battery sucks. I gotta go get a new battery. But I'm gonna give it a try anyway. Choke. Key fell out. Remember, no muffler. It's gonna be loud. But I hope it starts. Whoa. that. What I almost did. Shut it off because remember I didn't connect any of the wires. There's no magneto connection for the kill, you know. But hey, how about that, huh? That's what it was, man. It was a sheared keyway, you know. It was off by 45 degrees, so glad we figured that out. Thanks to the guys that commented last night on my Instagram and my YouTube comments about sheared keyway. Yeah, that could be it. Yeah. That runs okay, you know what I'm saying? Maybe needs a little fine-tuning on the carburetor, and remember, I made that linkage, you know? So this is a Walbro original. I cut the valve off of the fuel solenoid. Robert Nighthawk told me that this is not the right fuel filter for this. It does look a little hinky, you know, because it looks like it's too narrow for this opening here. But, yeah, you know what? Doesn't leak. Whatever. I have to work on this fuel thingamajig. Not sure what to do about that, you know. Because this is a post, vertical post here, the way MTD's designed it. The fuel tank is, you know, on this thing. I mean, if I put like a Craftsman kind, it would need bolts that go vertical, not horizontal. So I almost need like some kind of bracket for it to sit on, you know, for it to work. What a pain. See, so the opening for the fuel is here. I guess it's on the same level almost as the carburetor. You know what? What I'm going to do is I'm going to drain this fuel tank and replace the hose. Because it seems to have some kind of blockage in the hose, which is not allowing the fuel to get in there. I mean, there's fuel in here now, in the tank, you know. And look, well, it does come out, but not very well. Doesn't you know, shoot out, you know. But how about it, man? That's all it is. It was the timing. That's it. That's all it was. Good. It's good news. That's easy. You know what I'm saying? Gotta figure out the wiring to that thing. Hey, what's most important about the smoky engine? That's right. I didn't see any smoke. Did you guys see any smoke? I didn't see any smoke. How about it? How about it? That's amazing. So I told you that the muffler didn't fit the frame of this thing. It was off by like a ½ an inch because the engine this was on before was apparently, it sat a little bit forward, you know, instead of here. So the muffler cleared this lip over here, right? This one doesn't. As you saw, I tried to put the engine on with the muffler on. It wouldn't fit. So I had to take the muffler off just to mount the engine. And then, of course, you can't get the muffler back on here again because it's, you know, off by ½ an inch. So I just took the muffler off, right? And I just whopped it and banged it just so it the tube here, you know, bends like a ½ an inch. And then once you get the bolts on, tighten it really tight, and it's on here. It's a little crooked, but, you know, I'm going to have a shield that covers it anyway. So it's on there. Got a muffler on there now. Awesome, huh? So I've been a Mercedes guy for quite a while. I was convinced when I was a valet parker when I was 18. I always said to myself, when I'm financially good enough to afford one, I'm going to buy a Mercedes. And then once I bought my first Mercedes, my 5th one, this one here is a loaner. My wife was telling me the other day, hey, my coolant level is giving me a warning. So I go and check the coolant level, and it's just fine, right? And so I said, maybe it's just not leveled, whatever, you know? And so she says, well, I don't know. Wow, look at this. Oh, so here's my story. Oh, so she takes her car. How do you shut off the damn sound? You know. Well, that's cool. All right, so here's my story. So her coolant warning was on, right? And so I checked the levels, and it was fine. She had plenty of radiator fluid in there, even though it was tough to find the cap for it. Anyway, so it kept on staying on, and it could just be a sensor. So she took it into our Mercedes dealer locally, right? And so they look at it and they says, oh, you've got a recall on this bolt that gets in the way of the sensor or whatever. And so we're going to fix it for free, right? She has an ML350, which is the year right before they changed it to GLE, I believe. Anyway, so she's like, well, how long is this going to take? He's like, oh, unfortunately, it's like a 5-6 hour job. I says, and I'm thinking to myself, just to put a bolt in? Jesus, what do you have to do? Take the whole engine out? Which I'm not surprised, because Ferrari, if you want to do an oil change, you got to take the whole engine out. But anyway, so the manager comes running up, and she goes, oh, Mrs. Lynn's okay. We have a loaner for you. This is a 2019, no, this might be a 2020, A220. It's an A220. It's like the bottom of the line that they have, I believe, you know. But look at that. There's no gauges, man. This is all one long iPad. And they're going that way. It's like Tesla type, you know what I'm saying? This whole thing, it is an iPhone. It is a super long iPhone is your display. Pretty cool, huh? I'm gonna just take it for a ride. It's super small. It's smaller than a C-Class. Yes, it's warning me. Your seatbelt is not on. Your seatbelt is not on. I said, I know my seatbelt's not on because I'm just going across the street. I'm going around the block. They're like, your seatbelt should be on, even if you go around the block. Your seatbelt should be on. All right. I'm just going to stop here. It's very smooth. That's how you park. So it has that economy thing. I did not shut off the engine. I did not. But the engine is off. I think when I get back in and I step on the brake or something like that, it'll turn on. So it's an A220. It's a 4-door. It's 4-matic, which means it's all-wheel drive. Good for the snow. It's small though, you know. Nice big rims though. There's the front. I take you guys with me everything I do. Oh, there is one thing that I do know about. So this front part here, right? Usually when you see the Mercedes logo, this is hollow here. But if it's not hollow, right, and solid with plastic here, this is what's called distronic. I'm not 100% sure it has distronic, but when you see this and it's not hollow, you know, you can't put your fingers through here, you know, it has like a plate here, it's distronic. There's a sensor here that allows this to drive by itself on the highway. And we're going there, you know, all full automation. But I will tell you, I really like the dashboard, you know, the all LED screen dash. It's very cool. Actually, aha, I just tapped onto the brake and it fired up again. Anyway, just wanted to show you her loaner. Car's pretty cool. Kind of like it. So now I'm going to get my multimeter out. I do need to go to Walmart and see about getting a new battery because I am fresh out of batteries. I must have bought like 18 or 20 batteries this year. So I'm going to get my multimeter out, set it to 20 volts. And so I'm going to turn the key here just for the on part of it, and just see if this yellow wire here is showing any kind of voltage. And it doesn't. So I want to pinpoint which of these wires is the light switch, you know, that it has 12 volt on there switched. This is the other wire coming from the stator. You're not going to get any voltage because the engine's off. I just want to see anyway. This other one here, the one with the diode on here, is for the stator for sure. Then there's two wires here. There's a red one which should be 12 volts. It's 12.57 right now. So this is a live wire right here. Let's see if I shut off the switch. See if it's switched or unswitched, or is it constant 12? It is. It's switched. Okay. So only when you turn the switch on. When you turn the switch on, 12.57 volts coming from just the red wire there. So that's constant. This may just be. This is for the lights. Right? Let's see if that light switch is constant 12. Okay. Let's see if one of these is constant, is switched 12 volts. I got nothing. And I get nothing. There's nothing going into the light switch, so I think the stator has to be here. I just want to find out what the magneto wire is. Possibly it's the white wire. The white wire could be the magneto. I'll figure it out. I might have to splice this and then start the engine up, connect the wire to the magneto, and just touch this and see if it works. See if it shuts off. You know what I mean? So I can't figure out the magneto yet. I might have to just run a wire from the magneto straight to the magneto tab on the ignition switch. That bypasses all that other stuff for the kills. It's so complicated, you know, especially when you're dealing with old stuff. So I'm just going to remove the gas tank because I want to figure it out. I don't know why. You know, it seems blocked. It's just 4 bolts, it's missing one. There's a gas tank, and it's flowing nicely now. I'm going to drain the fuel into a container. So I've drained the gas tank, and I realized why this was sort of blocked all the time. This hose is very rubbery, especially around this area here. Okay? Now watch this. As soon as you turn it just a little bit, right? Just move it a little bit. See that part right there? It bends right there. There's a bend in it. See? It's so soft that once you bend it, it kinks, right? Right there. See? It's like molded there to have a kink. So if you just move this a little bit like that, it's going to kink and not get fuel. That was the reason why. I think the level might be okay. I just need to change the fuel line is all. Got a new fuel line coming out here. The new fuel filter. Not brand new, but it's newer. And I'm gonna put a fuel shutoff too, as I do with all the gravity fed type setups. You know, this throttle cable wire is in the way. That should be routed on the bottom. Is that better? That is better. Perfecto. Perfectamundo. Anyway, I'm going to put the gas tank on. So I've got a new fuel line worked out. The turn to a fuel shutoff, to a fuel filter, straight into the tank. I'm just unloading some of the excess fuel from this little tank and letting it go in here. Now, as you can see, because this is pretty full, the pressure of the fuel pushes this down. You can see that the fuel actually goes up. Oh, son of a gun. Oh, man. So much fuel's wasted. I have removed the ignition switch. I'm going to brush this off to see if I could see the letter M. M as in Mike. I'm going to attach a wire to that directly and put it to the magneto so it shuts off. After I took off some of that spitz, as you can kind of see the letters, G, L on the top, ground, lights, accessory 2, B for battery, one bottom left, that has an M there even though you can't see it. S for starter right above it, so that bottom one there is for the magneto. I'm going to attach a wire directly to that connection and put it straight to the magneto. So I just tapped into that magneto area. I am taking the fuel shutoff off, and hopefully it is filling with gas now. I'm going to try to start it and then stop it and shut it off just to see. Hope it starts. That was it. Another successful task. Another successful task. I just popped the ignition switch back into the dashboard again. There it is. A direct wire from the magneto to the M labeled tab of the ignition switch bypasses all those crazy wires that goes to 3 different safety switches that prevent a start or a shut off, you know. So a direct wire straight to it shuts off your engine, and that's all you want it to do, shut off the engine. I have a feeling this yellow one was it, and when I traced it, it was not connected to anything. So somebody's been in this machine and did their own thing, you know. So you don't want to go through like 20 feet of wire and figure out what they did, you know. You don't know how many of the 3 safety switches are busted. So the best thing to do is what I always do. Just bypass all that stuff. Go straight to the ignition switch. It's not the space shuttle. It's just an engine. And then you know that this one here, the red one is, now you see, I don't know what the other black one is, so it's kind of risky to, even though it fits, it's kind of risky to stick it in there, you know. But you can only find out one way, by turning it on and seeing if it's charging the battery. Or you can turn on the switch to switch power and see if something starts melting and burning. And it's on power now. And I don't feel any warmth in the wires, so it should be okay. I'm going to start it, let it run, and then go test the voltage on the battery and see if we get an increase in voltage. And then you know the stator's working and that I connected it correctly. Charging at 14.8 volts. It's charging very nicely. Fuel solenoids prevent backfires like that. But honestly, man, the key, when it vibrates, the key's barely in there. It's in there so you can turn it, you know. So if you're like driving around, this thing will just fly off. So I have to put like a lanyard on there or something like that just to shut it off or get another key. But honestly, this thing runs pretty good. I'm really surprised, you know, honestly. Runs pretty good. I'm gonna have to also figure out like some kind of cover for this thing, because for some crazy reason this one doesn't fit, you know? How about it, huh? So I've got that engine cover on there, converted it to the type where it has the rectangle filter. However, I gave the cap to Larry and Bob, so this is not going to work. So this is just temporary. I might put the metal kind of cover on it with the U going like this and just stick the filter on top like that. Something like that. I don't know. Anyway, so I was going to build a muffler cover shield, heat shield for the muffler. Well, I had one, but it had a muffler in it, you know, the one that came with it has 2 holes in it, and as you saw, Nick from Medford couldn't get it out, so he just left it. I couldn't get it out either. It was so rusted in there, so I had to just cut it out, my cutter. I just need the shield. I don't need the muffler, you know. So I'm gonna try to bolt that on. Looky here. I got the right side panel on. I got the front on, even though the front is missing the right side panel. And I put the muffler heat shield on there. This front part, the nose, the part here that's supposed to be attached to the corner is gone. Right? It's just hanging there like that. I figured if I had a side panel, it would adhere to here, and that would be your structural integrity. The hood looks like this. The hood looks like that, right? And it's supposed to have a bracket here that hooks on like that, right? Well, the bracket on this nose is gone, missing, broken, busted. So that's gonna be quite a bit to get that together. You know what I mean? And it's in terrible condition too. Look how faded it is. But I don't know. It's definitely going to be a part 4 and a part 5 because I haven't got the drive cable yet. Haven't put the deck back on yet. I haven't painted it. But you know, to get the engine running though, I mean that was something else right there. You know, getting the engine running and getting it running pretty well. You know. New fuel line, cleaned out the gas tank. It does work, gravity fed. Fuel filter, fuel shut off. Got the muffler back on there, got the heat shield. Front nose, side panel, hood. Worked out the magneto, the wiring. It does charge the battery, it does stop the engine. So, you know, it did quite a bit today, you know, from where it was. So I'm stoked because engine doesn't smoke so far, and seems to run pretty well, you know. And all we had to do was change the sheared keyway. Anyway, thanks for joining me for part 3 of my Troy Bilt lawn tractor repower project. I knew it was going to take a long time, but you know, what are you going to do? It takes as long as it takes, you know what I mean? Just got to get her done. This side looks okay if it was all painted red, you know what I mean? But I do need that left side panel. I have to look at the schematics to see exactly how this hood attaches to here with broken stuff on it. It's probably going to be pretty expensive, so I don't think I'm going to buy it. Maybe I'll put a Cub Cadet side panel on here and just make it work, you know? I don't know. Who knows? I don't know. Who knows? I don't know. See you guys next time on Mowers and Blowers.
See you guys next time on Mowers and Blowers.
Hey guys, support my channel. Buy a sticker. Also, follow me on Instagram at Mowers Blowers. Check out my website, mowersblowers.com. See you guys on my next project. Have a great day. Hey guys, Boba and I want to thank you for all the support of Mowers and Blowers. If you'd like, make a short video clip like these, and I'll put it as an outro in my future videos.
See you guys next time on Mowers and Blowers.